Hello and welcome back to The Give and Go. I'm your coach, Reynoso. Here's my boy.
Soltero, how's it going?
Just had some Whataburger, and it really, really hit. Folks, if you ever come to Texas, please visit Whataburger. This is not a sponsored ad. Amazing food, amazing drink, amazing meal.
It's amazing, man.
It's amazing, and it's good to have experienced something good after the games that we saw today, because we're going to get right to it, bro. Atletico Madrid ends up tying Espanyol, and Athletic Bilbao gets a 1-0 victory over Valencia. Let's talk about your beautiful Atleti, who we just finished watching. What's your takeaway from this match? And folks, if you're an Atleti fan or just a La Liga fan and you watch this game, let us know in the comments down below, what did you think about this match?
I'm just disappointed personally. We're at the Metropolitano facing a newly promoted side in Espanyol. And we just should have won the game. Yeah, and there's a few moments. You know, Lino had a really good chance. Julian Alvarez early on had a really good chance. Sorloth in the first half had 3 big headers that they just really didn't go his way. And I get it. Some of them were defended very well. There was also another chance where him and Barrios kind of miscommunicated and couldn't latch on to the end of a really nice ball that came into the box. The shot ends up being a little weak at the end of the day. And then the second half, there was just less chances, honestly. Yeah. It was more so Espanyol getting on the ball, honestly, and Atletico just not doing much with it in the final third. We do get a goal, but it ended up being offside, unfortunately. Barrios kicking it in right before crossing the line. I don't blame him, though. There was a lot of defenders there. They could have possibly cleared it out. So I don't mind that. It's just unlucky at that part. And so we can't do anything about it. But Barrios scores another goal at the very death, but it's offside again. So Riquelme. It was Riquelme. Just very unlucky day, I think, for Atletico as far as clinicality is concerned. But the overall 90, man, just, it's how it's been. It's how it's been, man.
I guess, yeah, I'm with you. It's disappointing, bro. But this one, I almost see no justification for this one, because the time Villarreal made sense to me. I think that makes sense to me. Yeah, but this, even if you are a little lower on Atletico compared to most people, you still got to beat Espanyol.
Yeah.
You have to, bro. This is a newly promoted side who's in 18th place now after this result. And especially that second half when Diego Simeone brought on 3 of his studs off the bench. I really thought that'd be the moment that Atletico just takes the game into their hands and takes over. And we saw none of that, dude, honestly. No chance creation, no real true threat. Ultimately, that led to no goals. And it's a 0-0 result at the Metropolitana as well, which I think is just a very frustrating part about this result overall. So Espanyol, at the end of the day, get a massive, I almost called it 3 points, bro, because getting a result like this at the Metropolitano is an insane feat. They got a point here. Massive result for them. And for Atletico, I mean, we did say it's going to take a while to really see them all gel together. And I do think this was a result of that.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not surprised by this. But I still want to be critical because, you know, we have to win this game. As you said, we have to win this game. But the fact that we didn't, I as you just said, I am low on what Atletico can do this year because of this product, because of what we saw today against Espanyol. I do think we're going to see more of these performances this year. I don't think this is an odd game for Atletico is what I'm saying.
I just feel like if they played 25 games into the season versus right now, Atletico wins this.
Yeah,
I think it's just that early season.
So what I've noticed so far in these 3 games is we are completely utilizing the flanks to attack every single time. So it's either Samuel Lino, Rodrigo Riquelme, Llorente, today was Nahuel Molino from the start on the other side, and that's where all of our play goes down. If that wing play doesn't work, then we have no other ideas. We have no central play, and I mean none. And it really shows, because that's why Julian Alvarez has not been able to get into these matches. He has nobody to combine with. Griezmann, as we've kind of talked about during the Euros, Griezmann's form is, definitely not what it once was. So it's going to be harder for him to get involved. But beyond that, Simeone is only going with 2 midfielders in every single match. And usually they're defensive, right? De Paul, and today was Koke. Those aren't the best type of players if you want to combine dynamically, especially with a guy like Julian Alvarez up top. So for Alvarez to get involved, he has to go out wide, but that doesn't make sense because those wingers need somebody to cross into. That's why Sorloth has actually had the better moments over these last 3 games for Atletico, because he is that receiver type of striker who's just waiting in the box. I think Alvarez excels better when he's getting touches in, when he's getting more involved. The problem is Atletico don't have the players to accentuate Julian Alvarez's strong suit. So I think it's going to be really interesting to watch over the next couple games. I said it last week. I'm saying it again today. I do think this is going to be the norm for Atletico. We're going to be good because we do have good players, but I think we're going to find ourselves struggling if our wing play isn't working.
I'm interested to see how Simeone continues kind of adjusting to this new team that he's got at hand right now, especially because he didn't play Conor Gallagher whatsoever today. I don't know if there's an injury there. I don't know what's going on. Didn't get the opportunity to play today, but I feel like that's a guy that, at least from a midfield position, poses a much bigger threat offensively. He can shoot from outside the box. Yeah. He can create a little bit more than someone like Rodrigo de Paul, who's really just a facilitator at the end of the day. You can say the same thing for Koke. I'm interested to see how Conor Gallagher can elevate that midfield play and more specifically that central play as well. We just haven't seen it though because he's only gotten 20 minutes so far.
Yeah, exactly. I think the best formation for Atletico is a back five. Utilize the wing backs, but have three midfielders. Gallagher has to be one of them, and then you put Griezmann in a secondary position alongside Julian Alvarez. I think that would maximize Alvarez's chances of combining with a guy like Gallagher, a guy like Griezmann, and then hopefully you can also receive some of the crosses that would come from the wings. I think that would be our best formation. Simeone hasn't done that yet, though. He's only going with two midfielders instead of three. I just think we could get more out of Alvarez, but I think that only happens with a formational change.
Any criticism to be thrown at Simeone by any chance for putting on like Reynoso, for example, when you need a goal?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what I'm saying is I think he's low-key getting it wrong so far. Truly. He's doing the right thing as far as playing Alvarez, playing Soltero today. So I think from the start, he's getting it right. But as far as trying to maximize our offense, I think he is getting it wrong. But it is early. Maybe he just wants to ease in a player like Conor Gallagher. But I do think it is the reason why we didn't win today, because I think we could have been a lot more adventurous. But that is Simeone to an extent, and it is something that I've had to live with over these last 10 years. Like, there are times when he just chooses to play it safe, and it does work. We didn't lose today, right? We didn't get a dramatic loss against Espanyol. We kept it 0-0, and realistically, Espanyol didn't really have any truly threatening opportunities. So from a defensive perspective, we were fine today. We were completely fine. So I do get why Simeone likes to be conservative, because it does work to an extent. It just sucks because early on in the season, when Madrid has already gotten a draw, we should try to get these points, especially against a team like Espanyol. No disrespect. But at home, we got to go for the 3 points, and we ultimately didn't.
Damn, so you're Simeone out. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. I fucking gaslight you.
Shit, man. For Espanyol, though, real quick, I actually think they have some good foundational players that makes this team pretty competitive. For a newly promoted side, I was actually impressed with some players, specifically Aguado. Really like this guy. He's your classic Spanish midfielder. So good on the ball, great first touch, very offensive thinking. I think the problem with Espanyol specifically is they just don't have any flair players. If Aguado had like an out-and-out dynamic striker that he could combine with, Espanyol would actually, I think, be pretty dangerous. But they just don't have that. It's like a bunch of good midfielders, no end product. If they had just like one guy up top that could be reliable in front of goal, I think Espanyol would be a really, really good team. At the end of the day, though, this is a really solid performance for them.
Yeah, they got that youngster from Tottenham, Velis, to be up top, but I think he's just a little raw right now.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Honestly, bro, if there's someone that could have been up top for him to at least work there with Aguado, La Liga, lower table type football. I'm looking at my boy Santi Jimenez, man.
Yeah,
that would have been a nice little combination right there.
Straight up.
Would have been nice. But there's a new segment I'd like to introduce after I famously introduced Reynoso Mountain. I have a new segment on board, brother. Reynoso's Relegation Radar. Beep, 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 beep. The radar is going off, posing the question of, is Espanyol a team that could potentially get relegated in La Liga? Newly promoted side and known to kind of be in that relegation battle consistently. After what we saw today, do you see this as a team that's going to be a mainstay in the relegation zone and ultimately have their season goal be not get relegated?
I think they'll be in some sort of relegation battle, but I don't think it's going to be desperate for Espanyol. As in, if they can put in performance like they did today, they're going to be fine. Like, it won't be pretty. They're not going to finish like in 9th, 10th place, but they will finish above relegation if they play like this. Because, again, I thought this was just a solid performance. They did enough. And if the rest of La Liga is struggling to score as well, then it's going to be really tight just in general.
And they are. Folks, ultimately, Atletico is still in 4th place, undefeated.
That's the thing. It's another draw, man.
They're undefeated, which is a funny thing to say. That's just early season results, I think.
Yeah.
And then Espanyol currently in 18th place, where Reynoso relegation radar is actually truly beeping, is alarming me for, is in regards to this Valencia side, who lost to Athletic Bilbao 1-0 today at Estadio San Mamés. Athletic Bilbao getting a goal through Prados. And Oscar de Marcos assist, beautiful ball in. Prados heading the ball into the back of the net. Beautiful goal past my boy Mamadashvili. And Athletic Bilbao gets 3 points here to now put themselves in 9th place, whereas Valencia, 20th place at the moment. 0 wins out of 3 games.
They've had a really tough schedule, though, if you look at it. They had to play Barcelona. They also had to play Celta, who have gotten off to a very good start. And then it's never easy going to Athletic on the road in the San Mamés. That's one of the more difficult places to play in Spain. So I think you do have to take that into consideration when you look at Valencia's first 3 games. It's low-key probably the hardest start out of all La Liga teams. Now here's the rub. They were so poor today, man. They were so poor. They offered nothing offensively. Absolutely nothing. A thankless task was given to Hugo Duro and Rafa Mir, the 2 strikers up top, because they realistically touched the ball maybe like 3 times total during the entire 90 minutes. It was poor final third play from Valencia. And even in the midfield and defensively, there's not a lot to be positive about for Valencia. It's very disappointing because last season, it was the best I had seen Valencia play in several years. They had a lot of nice youngsters, Javi Guerra, Fran Perez, for example. But both of those players started on the bench today. And the players that played in their stead just didn't do anything offensively. But that might be the energy that's around the Valencia camp this season. It might be pretty negative. So this is a very bad start for Valencia. Very
Looking
bad.
at their past 5 years. But they'll do 9th place and they'll do relegation battle. 9th place, relegation battle. Last year, 9th place. I think they're in the relegation battle this year, dude. And I think what they should be doing is put 11 men behind the ball, because right now Barajas lines them up in a 4-4-2. Put 11 men behind the ball and basically watch film on how Georgia plays football. Because I was surprised, this is my first time watching Valencia this time, that Mamadashvili goes from saving his ass off at Georgia in the Euros, translates it over to the club season and has to do the exact same thing, bro, where ultimately I think a lot of the points that Valencia ends up gaining will come at the hands of Mamadashvili and how he can save them in these tight matches. So I say play into it, bro. You have Duro and Mir up top. Do what you can with those 2. Just sling the ball up there whenever you can, but play a defensive block, a defensive game, because I was disappointed in Valencia's midfield, bro. Inability to keep the ball secured. They have an inability to secure that midfield right now, and they're always losing the ball, always losing possession, and it's why Duro and Mir never got on the ball and had an opportunity to score a goal. So I think they should just embrace a low block, embrace the fact that you have a future Liverpool goalkeeper for the next season, and just play a defensive game and hopefully be able to escape the relegation zone, because I think it's going to be a long season for Valencia, with obviously the way that they've started, yes, against tough teams, but I think even against the lower level teams, it's going to be a tough match for them to be able to generate goals in general.
Exactly. I don't know where the goals are going to come from for Valencia for the rest of the season, to be honest. They just don't have any difference makers. Last season, there was a little bit of energy in those youngsters that were being the difference for them. But I just don't know if that same energy is there this season, at least not to start. They're going to have to go through a lot to get that positive energy back. But right now, I agree, like, just offensively in all departments, in the midfield and up top, there's just nothing there for Valencia. And Yeah, sure, they can go defensive, but I don't know what they're going to have to do to get the most out of their offense. I really don't know. It's going to be tough for them, I think.
Yeah, and for Athletic, you had Nico Williams coming off the bench in the second half. I think they said he had some sort of muscular knock or something, so he only got like 30 minutes in this game. Iñaki Williams almost had a beautiful goal that hit the post. Athletic Bilbao was the better team here by far at home. They looked comfortable at the end of the day, and I think they could have won it by more than one goal if they had just finished a little bit better. So Athletic finally gets a win here, finally gets a win in La Liga, so that's good to see, and I believe that now puts them in ninth place, and it's just a matter of, I mean, you expect them to win these matches against these lower level teams, but against the top dogs, they haven't been able to do that so far. I wonder how Atletico is going to look, and I want to know from the chat down below, where do you think Athletic Bilbao ends their season? Are they going to be in the Champions League race, or are they more of a 5th to 10th place type team, or even mid-table perhaps? Where do you see Athletic Bilbao playing after these 3 games that we've seen so far? Because I don't know, man. Something about this team I think is missing that wasn't missing last year.
And this is what I was alluding to preseason, because Athletic very rarely greatly improve from a season before. It's very rare. If anything, they almost always perform the exact same. And if other teams are playing better than them, then they just drop down the table. They can't keep up. And I think that's what's going to happen this season. If Villarreal and Celta are playing better than Athletic are going to move down 2 spots, because they're not going to be able to maintain the same type of offense that those 2 teams are performing at. So for Athletic, ultimately, I come away from this game just a little disappointed, because I think they should have dominated even more. I think they should have been way more deadly in front of goal against a very poor Valencia side. But at the end of the day, Athletic were honestly kind of disjointed once the ball got into the final third. They were just relying on individual moments from Sunset, Iñaki Williams, Nico when he came on. I just think there's a lot of fluidity that's lacking in that Athletic offense, and ultimately I think it's going to bite them come the end of the season.
For sure. I think in La Liga, I don't see them being as successful as they were last year.
Yeah.
I'm going to defend my boy Nico, though. All right? I'm going to defend my boy Nico, though, because you make it all up if you get another Copa del Rey, bro. If he brings one trophy to Athletic Bilbao, it'll justify his entire year that you propose he's wasting at Athletic Bilbao, whereas he could be at a bigger club, for example. But I just think the weight of legacy, winning another trophy, winning multiple trophies with Athletic Bilbao would be incredible for Nico. He's the player that can do it for him. It's going to be tougher, though. It's going to be much tougher.
Tough, man.
I think if they can get into the knockout stages of the Champions League and then go deep in the Copa del Rey and hopefully lift another trophy, then it would justify. So that's what I'm going to bank my Athletic Bilbao hopes on this year. But it's not looking too good so far with the way they've started the La Liga season. So I agree with you there.
One thing I also will add, and I noticed it last season too, but even more so already very early into this season, Athletic are definitely going through a generational change from a squad perspective, because the last 2 seasons, there's just new faces all the time, and in this game as well. Jallo, Boido, the 2 left-sided players, they're getting more into the team. There's another midfielder, Jauregui Sar, also getting into the team. So those Athletic players that were there starting for the last 7-8 years are now finally getting transitioned out, and you have these young players coming into the team. So I do think it makes sense that this Athletic side does lack a bit of chemistry, because there are a lot of new faces. Unai Simon is also out, right? You said
right
Badia played last week. This week it's the other backup goalkeeper, Aguirre Zabala.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of change going on at Athletic right now, which is why I think it would have made sense to let Nico go. Because it just could have been better, and not even to a bigger team.
Oh, yeah.
Just to a team that has more going for them. For example, like Villarreal.
Yeah, you almost it's like a toxic family that won't let their kid leave their hometown type shit is what you're saying, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm just saying, like, if he kills it at the taco shop or something, then maybe there's something to reward there, bro. There's something, pride, family pride right there, bro. That's all. But I agree. I think this has to be the last year. If he's there one more year, I'm gonna join you in that anger. I'm gonna join you for sure. Let's look at the other results happening in La Liga. Just looking down, since we didn't watch any other games, we had Real Valladolid tying Leganés 0-0. Bro, so many 2-0 results today.
I know.
Barely any goals, man.
Shit.
God damn. So Valladolid and Leganés, I need to see them play. I wonder how they look in comparison to like Valencia and Espanyol. But Valladolid right now is in 11th place with 4 points. Leganés is in 5th with 5 points. They have not lost so far.
Oh, good for Leganés then.
Got to watch some Leganés ball. We also had Real Sociedad losing to Deportivo Alavés 2-1, with Real Sociedad getting a red card. Brais Mendes scoring the first goal, but then Deportivo Alavés coming back in the match, scoring 2 goals and winning the game. For me, this is a wonderful result. Liverpool fan here. Hi, hello, my name is Reynoso, and I am very salty about Subimendi. I love to see the downfall so far from Sociedad.
They've been struggling. They've had such a bad start to the season, man.
Yeah.
They're low key giving me big athletic vibes too, where they had a decent season, I'd say, last year, and they made like a somewhat of a good run in the Champions League, especially by their standards, and they've gotten off to a horrible start this year. But that's also Sociedad. They have one good season, one mid-season. One good season, one mid-season. So this is just typical of these Spanish sides, man. That's why I can't trust Athletic. That's why I can't trust Sociedad. I just can't trust these teams.
And then lastly, we had Real Betis and Getafe postponed.
Yeah, Betis doing some European football.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Europa or conference. I forget which one Betis is in.
And that is it for La Liga coverage today, folks. Make sure to join us tomorrow for another reaction to La Liga matches. And we're going to be doing this all season long, trying to get as many reactions as we can to this beautiful league, as well as the Premier League and many other leagues in the world. So, folks, comment, like, and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts on these games, and we'll catch you guys soon. Peace.